All right, kids, welcome to Minarets Expectations and Norms for WebEx classes. We are going to give an overview of what to expect in WebExes, how to be successful, how to make sure your teacher is giving you a thumbs up and you're doing a great job. We just want to make sure that our norms are followed so everyone can learn, everyone's on the same page, and we can successfully do these classes. Okay, Minaret students, so good morning. Today we're going to go over 10 expectations and tips for having a successful class in WebEx. So as you know, we've already started our process of meeting with our teachers in WebEx, and for the most part that's gone really well. It's nice to get to know your teachers and to start the year off right. But we also need to set some expectations so that we can be consistent, learning can be allowed and maximized, and everybody gets a chance to participate and be successful in those classes. So think about it in these terms. I know right now you're going to class in these WebExes, and in a lot of ways this feels like a temporary thing. You know, eventually we'll be back on campus. But the way that we need to approach everything is that we're preparing ourselves as young professionals to be successful now and beyond. So let me just tell you, in a professional sense, whether you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, you work for somebody else, you're a teacher, a doctor, anything like that, using these ways to communicate is going to be a huge part of your future. So it's best, just like in an interview, just like in a sales pitch, you got to know the right ways to interact with different types of medium. You got to know how to interact successfully in person. You got to know how to interact via a presentation. And today we're going to talk about how to successfully interact using WebEx. So please engage. These are useful tips not only for high school right now, but definitely, inevitably, these will be tips that are important to remember as you become professionals. And we're teaching you to do that. So remember, follow these tips. Go big, go pro, go now, go Mustangs. Expectation one, you have to come on time and you have to stay the whole time. It's important that you're there for every minute. Every minute counts. Your teachers have a minimum amount of time to talk with you and work with you. So it's essential that we're productive. You guys know it when we're in person, we call that bell to bell. Well, bell to bell is the same in distance learning. Make sure you are there for the full lesson. Expectation two, respond when the teacher calls upon you. This is important for your participation and your learning and showing that you're mastering the content, but it's also important to ensure that you're there and you're actively engaged. So when the teacher calls on you, be ready and respond, whether that's in chat or with your voice. Expectation three, stay engaged. Show that you're engaged. This is an important skill now in your classes, but also in the future when you're on a web-based meeting. It's important to show physically that you're engaged, your eyes are locked in, you're responding, you're nodding, and make sure you're participating in any activity that your teacher presents. Stay engaged and look engaged. Number four, we know that you're at home in most cases, but we need to present ourselves and show ourselves in a mindset of being a young professional. So, what does that mean? That means that although you're home, you're ready for school. So, we're not eating during classes, we're not checking our phone, we're not watching TV. We are all in on our class. And also, we are following dress code. Make sure that you keep these things together and that you are acting like a young professional. Expectation five, keep your chat on the topic. So I know that, sometimes it's like, hey, my friends are in here, I'd like to engage with them. But remember, you're in there for a very select amount of time. So your chat has to be related to the content. We know you guys are funny. We love that you like to joke. But make sure that your chat is focused on the class content alone and nothing else. Usually chat is going to be reserved for questions or answers to a teacher's question. Expectation six, stay muted while someone else is talking and until you're called upon. You guys have been in a WebEx or a Zoom before where somebody's mic's on and you hear a lot of background noise, or they're talking, or their music's on. We don't want to hear that white noise. We want to make sure that everyone can zero in on that person talking. So make sure that you're muted, and don't forget to unmute when you're responding to the teacher or your classes appropriately. Expectation number 7, professional and academic language. Remember, this is one of our key areas. We want to make sure that we are articulate. We want to make sure that our language is academic and on point. And we want to get used to this presentation style. This is just a different style of presenting. So we want to make sure that you have a clear message, you're understood, you're staying on task, and you use that high level language. Expectation number 8, show your face when you're called upon. Find a quiet place where you're alone. We know that sometimes it can kind of be embarrassing. Maybe there's a lot of stuff going on at home. You don't really want to show that. So it's just important that your teacher can see that you are physically there. So if you have any questions or concerns on this, always feel free to reach out to your teacher and they can make accommodations and work with you. But it's important that they are able to see you if that's possible. Expectation number 9, social cues and responsive expressions. So remember, your teachers are going to have different things for you to respond, or different ways for you to respond to. It could be a thumbs up, it could be a nod. Sometimes in a WebEx, rather than have everyone talk, a physical response is a better way to go about it. So just make sure that you're showing, you're hearing, you're understanding, you're engaged through your social cues and expressions. Last is expectation number 10, multitasking equals less productivity. When you're in a WebEx, remember it's a 40-minute maximum, so it's extremely important that you're not multitasking, because the most important task at that point is listening to your teacher and being involved. Consider a note-taking strategy that you can implement, and that would keep you focused on the class versus checking your phone, listening to music, looking at other things. Make sure that you are locked in and you're not multitasking. All right, guys, so those are the norms and expectations. Those are ways to be successful in a WebEx classroom. Remember, this is new for all of us, but if you follow these tips and guidelines, you're going to have a lot of fun, you're going to learn a lot, and your teacher's going to know that you're on task and ready to go. All right, everybody, go big, go pro, go now. Keep going with a spirit that cannot be broken. See you later, Mustangs.